Hey YouTube, happy you guys decided to click on my video. Today I want to talk about one of my favorite animes, Yu Hakusho. Now, to say this one is the best is obviously my opinion, but it's a solid one. So hear me out as I take you through the story of Yu Hakusho. So the story starts with our main character, Yusuke Urameshi. At first glance, he seems like a typical protagonist anime character, but trust me, he's the furthest thing from it. In the first episode, we see Yusuke getting into a lot of fights in middle school and junior high. He lives with his single mother who has an alcohol addiction, which is much different from the family environments that were around in the time that Yu Hakusho was made. There was nothing like that, especially for a main character. This allows us to feel like we're in the lives of these characters when we see such personal details about what situation they're in. So basically, whenever his mother's home, she's really not home. The closest thing he has to a friend is his school rival, Kazuma Kuwabara. The teachers hate this kid the most. I think they hate him even more than the kids that he beats up, especially this one rat. So all of this contributes to Yusuke's me against the world mentality. He feels as though nobody cares for him. He feels unloved, unwanted, even hated. Now, he's not a saint, but he's also not a bad kid by any means. The messed up part is he doesn't see that of himself. So later on in the first episode, Yusuke's on his way home from school when he notices that a kid is playing with a ball dangerously close to traffic. He tells the kid to stop, but the kid doesn't listen, and the next thing you know, the ball's in the middle of the street. They have a car coming going at least 300,000 miles an hour in what looks like a 35 miles an hour zone. But this leaves Yusuke to make a decision. This is when Yusuke shocks everyone and changes the dynamic of this anime 180 degrees. Yusuke jumps in front of the speeding vehicle, killing himself but saving the kid. Now, as a ghost, Yusuke is met with the Grim Reaper, or Botan, the guide of the River Styx. He wants to be taken away because he feels like he has nothing to look back on Earth. He feels like he was unloved and didn't really have any connections that make him want to stay. Since Spirit World was trying to figure out what to do with Yusuke since he made this selfless act, Botan decides to take Yusuke to his own funeral. To Yusuke's surprise, people were crying and mourning his death. Friends that he never knew he had, a girl that he had his eyes on. His rival Kuwabara was heartbroken that he'd never be able to fight his friend again. The principal that wanted the best for Yusuke and saw the potential in him. Not those hating ass teachers though. They were at his funeral just dragging him through mud. Luckily, the principal caught their ass, finally, because they was getting away with all kinds of shit, to be honest. At this funeral, Yusuke comes to the realization that everything that he yearned for was right under his nose the whole time. This is something that Yu Hakusho does so well. These characters go through mental problems that you and me face every day. Yusuke is now at a crossroads and coincidentally is given a chance to live by who we see as kind of a god figure, Koenma. He gives him an egg, and basically the egg is a reflection of Yusuke's spirit. So if Yusuke is malicious and with ill intent, the egg will hatch and turn into a vicious monster that will consume him. But if he has good intent, the egg will be able to revive him and he'll have another chance at life. So basically he's the arbiter of his own fate. This is kind of where the story ramps up. He needed one more thing to be brought back to life, and luckily his crush, who he wouldn't admit that it was his crush, came through clutch in the final second to give him a kiss before midnight, reviving him. So now, being alive, he's given a position from Spirit World to become a spirit detective, hence the name Yu Hakusho. He's given a couple of tools to help him get through, because he really doesn't have like true powers, and he's starting to face, these creatures from other dimensions that he had no idea about previously. He's pretty much a natural at it. I mean, he's kicking ass left and right. He's learning shit. He's getting new moves like the patented spirit gun, or in Japan, ray gun. Going through these missions and fighting demons, he eventually finds two demons, one being Kurama and one being Hiei. These two demons are a little bit different than the other ones because they show more human characteristics and like empathy and love and feelings. Most of the other things he's been dealing with has just been brainless monsters focused on killing and destroying the humans. Yusuke then gets a job to go to a old psychic named Genkai's temple to join a contest to learn her spirit wave. It's like the most powerful technique known. Yusuke finds Kuwabara there, which kind of bonds them, because previously the only interactions that they had with each other were just kicking the shit out of each other. Yusuke and Kuwabara make it to the semifinals and are finally faced with the demon. Kuwabara is nearly killed, having pretty much every bone in his body broken, and Yusuke narrowly pulls out the victory, getting to learn Genkai's spirit wave technique and starting training with Genkai. Genkai is such an important character in this story because she related with Yusuke like no other authority figure has done. She saw the potential in Yusuke, and she also saw his heart. For the first time in Yusuke's life, he accepted discipline and really met somebody halfway. After Genkai's training, the group of Yusuke, Kuwabara, Kurama, and Hiei is assembled for a mission from Spirit World. These four go through numerous obstacles, growing as a team until they find their match on a mission, being defeated by a wealthy person's fighter, Toguru, who forces them to join a multi-dimensional tournament. In this tournament, Yusuke and his friends affect everybody they fight, whether it be negatively or positively. They affect everyone they fight because they're fighting for more than anybody else in the building. They're faced with many difficulties and challenges that they overcome in both cunning, witful ways and pure brute force. As the tournament goes along, we learn that Toguru has a past history with Genkai. Genkai is just finishing her training for the Spirit Wave on Yusuke when Toguru murders Genkai. Yusuke doesn't make it in time and is enraged. His power level, I'm definitely sure that it's over 9,000. He tries to stop him, but he's still no match, and is forced to wait for a hopeful final round in the Dark Tournament. In this match, Yusuke still can't pull through and win. He can't unlock his true power. He can't get in touch with his feelings. He's surrounded by this brick wall. So he has no reason to fight, essentially. With Genkai dying, it should have been all the fuel that he needed, but it wasn't enough for him. Kuwabara made a heroic act by taking Toguru head on and consequently facing death for it. Seeing Kuwabara die gave Yusuke what he finally needed to unlock it. He defeats Toguru, and somehow Kuwabara has survived. Even Genkai comes back to life through a deal of the Spirit World. This ends arguably the greatest tournament arc in anime, and only begins the story of Yu Hakusho. The Dark Tournament opened up the world, metaphorically and physically, for Yusuke and his crew. After this, Yusuke is met with a case of someone trying to open up a portal between Demon World and Human World to basically end the world. And for the first time, Yusuke isn't just fighting for himself, he's fighting for literally everyone on the planet. And he's about 15 at this time, so you can only imagine what kind of stress would be going through a kid his age's mind with that much pressure being put on his shoulders. So Yusuke, Hiei, Kurama, and Kuwabara find who's trying to open a portal into Demon World and basically get their ass kicked. Everything they've done isn't enough, and it seems hopeless at this point. Yusuke's dead, and Spirit World sends in their best men to finish the job that Yusuke couldn't do. But to everyone's surprise, they were not only there to take out Sensui, they were also there to take out Yusuke. Learning that Yusuke is a half-breed of one of the most powerful demons in all of existence, it scared Spirit World and King Yema enough that King Yema called a hit on Yusuke, essentially. Because even though his heart stopped and his friends all thought he was dead, he actually wasn't dead. And the only reason that he died the first time was because his body wasn't strong enough to hold the capabilities of the Mazuko demon. So Yusuke resurrects and comes back with a massive amount of power, but not just regular spirit energy power like he's had so far in the show. He comes back with demon energy that his friends Hiei and Kurama have possessed already. Yusuke jumps headfirst into the portal to Demon World where Sensui has gone after kicking their ass and is looking for blood. He meets his friends fighting Sensui in Demon World just in the nick of time and kind of loses control of the fight. He seems good at first, but all of a sudden Sensui takes the momentum from the fight and Yusuke is left getting beat in the dirt. That's when we see Yusuke's Mazuko side. Whoo! And when he turns full Mazuko form, it's a sight to see. He totally takes and gives the most brutal assault I've ever seen in an anime fight, period. I mean, this fight was cataclysmic. I've never seen somebody jump on somebody's stomach over and over again, or headbutt them 10 million times in a row, or grab them by the shirt and punch them until their shirt rips. Taking over into this form also left Yusuke's morality behind. Yusuke, in the middle of the fight, didn't want to kill Sensui because he felt like he'd become just like him. You see, during the fight of Sensui, Sensui was basically trying to convince Yusuke that he's just like him, because Sensui was once a spirit detective who changed once he's seen the evil that the humans have done to the demons also, and basically felt like he didn't know what he was fighting for. By his demon side taking over his body, he robbed Yusuke of the choice to act. This enraged Yusuke, and that's where we get the biggest conflict of this whole story. Yusuke has now saved the world, but doesn't see that because he couldn't save himself. The only way to rectify what's happened to Yusuke is to find the voice in his head who took over his body, to find the Mazuko. He leaves behind his family and friends once again to go to Demon World and find out exactly who it was that took over his body and why. He's helped by some of the Mazuko's henchmen, because turns out the Mazuko is a king of Demon World, and there are 3 kings in Demon World fighting over it. Yusuke goes to not only make himself stronger, but to finally get the victory that he felt that he lost with Sensui. He meets the Mazuko, whose name is King Rasen, and basically King Rasen is a dad that Yusuke never had. He trains and gets stronger than he's ever been, and is ready for the war between Demon World. In a bold suggestion in true Yusuke fashion, Yusuke suggests a Demon World tournament. The tournament is held. Kurama and Hiei are on opposite sides of Yusuke. But throughout this tournament, each other being farther apart brought everything together. And the story writing is so damn good. Like, in this tournament, Hiei fights his captain and another king in Demon World, Makuro. The thing about Hiei and Makuro is they both can only express their emotions through acts of violence, which is an unfortunate reality in society. But seeing each other in that fight made them both realize that what they were fighting for was all wrong. And Hiei taking a shot and losing the match saves Makuro from her shackles, metaphorically and physically, because they use shackles as curse bindings on Makuro. In Yusuke's fight, he loses, but badly injures Yomi, who is the third Demon King, badly enough to where he loses the second match to a luckily good-hearted demon who bans any mischief in the human world and kind of sets things straight until the next competition. This ends Yu Hakusho, and we get a good recap of Yusuke coming back from Demon World and finally getting with Keiko, who he's kind of been just giving the cold shoulder to this whole time. It ties everything up except for Hiei not telling his sister that he's her brother. That's about all we have as far as Yu Yu Hakusho content goes. There's 2 movies, which one I think is just a lost episode. It's only 25 minutes, and it looks like basically a spirit detective episode. They're just going to save Koema. And then the second movie is horribly dubbed. I just want to give a huge shout out to Funimation on the dub, and Justin Cook really kills it as Yusuke. There's no other voice actor for Yusuke that killed it like Justin Cook did. I wish there were more episodes. I wish they dubbed the movie with Funimation. So my closing thoughts, I just wish that more animes would look at shows like Yu Yu Hakusho to take inspiration from than your traditional, because when you see animes like Tokyo Revengers and Jujutsu Kaisen that give you more of a peer into these people's lives, it just brings a sense of realness and gravity to the whole show. I hope you guys enjoyed my small breakdown of a show that honestly we can talk about for hours because of how much they put into this anime. Even the author had mental problems with trying to meet the demands of what this anime was doing. If you haven't seen Yu Yu Hakusho yet, please watch it. If I spoiled anything for you, I'm sorry, but I haven't even scratched the surface, so do yourself a favor and watch it and really get a good feel, and you won't regret it. Thanks for watching this video all the way through. If you enjoyed this video, please hit that like button. Please comment and subscribe. Love you guys. Peace.